Hello everyone, welcome to our day 6 of our 30 days of code challenge. And in today's session, we are going to be building a simple calculator using the power of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Let's dive right in. So first of all, I'm going to share my screen. I'm trying to share my full screen now. So I'm going to open my VS Code. So after opening my VS Code, the first thing that I want to do is that I want to create a new folder for today's session. Okay, so we have our 30 days of code folder. And now, under our 30 days of code folder, I want to create a new folder known as day 6. Very good. So I just successfully created our day 6 folder. Under this day 6 folder, I want to create 3 different files. One for our CSS code, the second for our HTML code, and the third one for our JavaScript code. So let me create the first file. Let me call it index.html. The second file is going to be style.css. While the third file, I'm going to name it index.js. Okay, now we have successfully created our 3 files. Let's dive right in, starting from the HTML. So from the HTML, good. So the first thing I want to do, I want to change the name of this document. I want to change it to calculator. So I want to link my CSS to my HTML, and in order for me to do that, I'm going to click on link, enter, then let me call it style.css. So the next thing I want to do now is that I want to link my JavaScript to my HTML. So to do that is going to be script, enter. Then we are going to have src equals to index.js. So now I've just successfully linked my JavaScript to my HTML file. So the next thing I want to do now is I want to paste the body of our calculator. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new div, and I'm going to name this div. Let me give it an ID. I will give it an ID of calculator. Okay, that looks good. So in this div, the first thing that we see whenever we look at a calculator is the screen of the calculator, because the screen of the calculator is what is going to display both what we are inputting into the calculator and the final results that we get after doing our calculation. So for me to create my screen now, I'm going to click on input, because this input is what we serve as what's going to serve as the screen of our calculator. But for we to see what we are actually doing, let me go live so we can see what we are doing in real time. So as you can see, we have a box here which will serve as our screen. And let me name this, let me give this input. Let me give this input an ID of display. An ID of display. Now, one thing I want you to note about this screen is that, let me maximize it. This screen, if you click on it, you can type in your name, you can type in numbers, but I don't want to be able, or I don't want my user to be able to type in anything, both alphabets or numerics, into this screen. I want this screen to be dormant. I only want this screen to display my input. I want it to display the results of my calculation. I don't want the user to be able to type in digits directly onto the screen, so they won't be able to manipulate the calculations. For me to do that, I'm going to add the function of read only to this screen. Read only. So with this read only, we can only read what is on the screen. We can no longer type in anything to this screen. Let's test that. Then maximize. Let's go back to the screen. So now anytime we click on anything, you see nothing is displaying on the screen because the screen has now been set to read only. Okay, let's dive right in. So after seeing the screen on our calculator, the next thing that we are always looking out for is the keys. So for me to create my keys or the buttons, I'm going to create another div. And this div, we are going to give it an ID of keys. That's for the what? That's for the. So what are the buttons I would like to see on my calculator? We have a lot of buttons on our calculator. So let's start from the obvious ones, which is our numeric keys. So I'm going to add some buttons to this button. So the first one, let's say this is letter number 1. Okay? Control C. The second one is going to be what? Letter 2. The third one, the next one is going to be 3, followed by 4, followed by 5. Oh, sorry. Followed by 5. Very good. Followed by 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 0. So our calculator now contains all the digits from number 1 to number 9, including number 0. But there are some other buttons that we need to attach to this, which is going to be our operator keys. That is the addition key, the minus key, the multiplication key, the division keys. Let's add that also. So now the first one is going to be my dot key. That's the dot key. Then followed by addition key. After addition key, the subtraction key. After the subtraction key, the multiplication key, followed by the division key. And last but not the least, let's add 2 more keys to that. So let's add a key with a letter C, which we are going to use to clear the screen of the what? We are going to use this to clear the screen of the calculator. And after that, we are going to add another key known as the equal to sign key. Very good. So let's design this a little bit before we start adding functionality to it. So to design this, everything is in my ID of calculator. So let's go to our CSS. Let's select the ID of calculator. let's change the display. Flex. Okay, hold on. Before designing the calculator, let's design the body first. The body, let's change the display to flex. Justify content, censor. Sorry. Let's align the content vertically. Align content, censor. And just after that, we are going to set the width or the height of the screen rather. Let's say the height to be 100 VH. So after doing this, let's move on to the what? To the calculator. Let's start designing the calculator. To the calculator, let's move it to the center also. Text align, center. Height of what? Height of 100 VH. Okay. So everything is in a div of calculator. Let me move the calculator. Text align, center. Background color. Let me make it HSL. 0%. 90 what? 90%. Okay. Then the border radius. Border radius, let's make it 20 pixels. Let's make it 20 pixels. %. With the max width. So let me maximize this so you can see what we have done. So we just designed the calculator body. So after this, let's move on to the buttons. So the buttons are arranged in a div known as keys with an ID of keys. So to do that, that will be keys. Okay, let's change this display to grid. Display to grid. So how do you want to arrange this grid? That will be grid templates column. I want you to repeat 4 buttons on each columns, and the 4 buttons should have the same size. Very good. So 4 buttons on each columns, and the 4 buttons should have the same size. That's for the what? That's for the keys. Then I want to give it a gap. Let's give it a gap of 20 pixels, if that is not so much. Very good. A gap of 20 pixels. That looks cool for the keys. Let me see. Okay, for the keys, that is a little bit okay. So let's go to our display now. Our display, that's the screen. Now for the display. I want to send the font size to 3 rem. I want to set the width to 80%. Very good. I want to give it a border radius of 20 pixels. I want to set the border to be none. Border none. Padding to be 20 pixels. And the margin to be 30. The margin should be 30 pixels. Okay, that looks good. Let me change the background color. Oh, sorry. That shouldn't be here. Okay. So now let's move on to the keys. Each of the buttons, they have a class of button. So let's just type the button. Let's type the button immediately. That will be button. The first thing I want to change is the background color. The background color. Let's change the background color to be black. Yeah, let's make the background color black. Let's make the color white. Color white. Let's change the fonts to bold. Font to bold. Let's change the font size to be 2 rem. Very good. Let's change the border radius. (15 pixels). Okay, so this is what we have right about now. So this is what we have now. So on my calculator, I want to set some padding to my calculator. I want to set a padding of 10 pixels. the padding of 10 pixels to be calculated. So let me maximize my screen so you can see what we have. Okay, so this is what we have now, but none of these buttons are functioning right about now. None of these buttons are functioning now. So let's make this button start functioning. So for the buttons to function, we have to go back to our HTML first. Now, whenever we click on this button number 1, on click, we want it to append to display. So whenever you click on number 1 button, you want it to append to display number 1. Want it to append to display number 1. Then for the second one, want it to append to display 2. Hold on. Let me quickly cut and paste this. Control. Okay. Good. So whenever you click on 3, you want it to okay. Want it to append to display number 3. Then on 4, it will append to display 4. On 5, append to display. Oh. Oh, sorry. I have to use a single. Okay. So whenever I click on 1, append to display 1. On 2, append to display 2. On 3, okay, I made some backsticks here. On click, append to display. Okay, good. Sorry, I fixed that. Sorry, I fixed the error over there. 4. When I click on 9, append to display 9. Whenever I click on 0, you we want to append to display 0. Whenever we click on dot, we want to append to display dot. Now, whenever we click on the plus sign, same thing, we want to append dot display the plus sign, but note that the plus sign is an operator. So because of that, we want to add a class to it. That's to make it class operator button. Operator button. So same thing with the minus sign. Same thing with the multiplication sign. Okay. Same thing with the division sign. Now, for the C sign, we want to make this on click should be equal to clear function. On click should be equal to clear function. And for the equals to sign, we want the on click to be equal to calculate function. Up to this point, none of these buttons are responding yet. Yeah, they look a little bit colorful, but none of them are what? None of them are responding. Okay, so to change that narrative, we are going to move on to our JavaScript. So the first thing we are going to do in JavaScript is const display is equal to document dot get element by ID display. Now with this, we have three major functions that we want to create. The first function I want to create is the append to display function. The second one is the clear function, and the third one is the calculate function. So let's start with the append to display function. So whenever we click on any of the buttons that have the append to display function, we want that to be equal to a function want it to be equal to a function of input. Where the display dot value whatever we input into this box, that will be our input, should be equal to display dot value. So this means that anytime we click on any of these box, the value of the number that we just clicked on should reflect in our watch, should reflect in our box. Just a minute, sorry. Okay, I'm coming. Just a minute. So sorry about that. Instead of having the equals to sign, all we have to do is just this. So we are supposed to set the function append to display equals to display dot value. So now whenever we click on any of the buttons, it should reflect. I'm coming. Let me cancel this. Let's go live. Very good. So now any of the button that we click on is going to reflect right there. So the first thing we have to, the second function that we want to create is the function of clear. So anytime we click on the clear function, we want the display dot value to be equal to nothing. And then the last but not the least of the function I want to create now, I want to create the function of calculate. So the function of calculate should give us this calculate. We want to try two things. We want to try the try, and in case it does not try, we want to catch the error. Okay. So we want to try our display dot value should be equal to evaluate display dot value. Let's quickly test that out. I'm going to have 1 plus 9 equals to sign 20. So the calculator is working just right about now. If we have 201 minus 100. Then we should have what? 101. So about the try. So this cache should give us to help us to create our what? To help us to create our errors. I mean, just about now. Okay. So let's quickly do a recap of everything that we've done today. So we just created the calculator app, and notice that in this calculator app, anytime we click on any number on this screen, it displays on the input sign. This is divided by 6. We are going to have what? 2. Let's cancel this. Oh, sorry. So that's just it. So 12 times 9. Now we have what? 108 divided by, let's say, 10. We have what? 10.8. So that's all we have in our calculator app for today. So in our next session, we are going to go deeper into designing more amazing stuff. Thank you so much for joining us for today. Thank you.